you go down to Tarot Card Expert, so you could download this form and follow along, because we're going to be doing a lot of this kind of readings. This time, we're going to study Jihadi John. Now, how do we know that this is going to be true? Well, we don't. And never assume that any reading that you are doing is the truth, ever. Okay, this is just for play. But just check your facts, just find out from other people. If you're doing a reading for your kids or your friends or something, just say, does that sound true to you? Does this make any sense to you? And that's how you always want to do a reality check when you're doing a reading. But because we're doing something on, this guy named Jihadi John, I'm just going to take a look at what's going on with him at this time, according to Tarot. So with the 21 card spread, we're talking about all kinds of positions here. We come in with, how does he come into the reading? We go out with the 21. The last card is, how does he feel if he were here listening to this reading? How would he feel about what was said? And it goes into the person's thought and his feelings and what his intuition is trying to tell him. What is the foundation of where he's at this time? The inner self has to do with the inner thoughts, like what kind of thoughts does he hold inside his own that he doesn't necessarily say outwardly, whereas the outer thoughts is what he actually speaks. And the same thing with the inner feelings, is what is he feeling inside, but what is he actually saying outside? And as you know, there are a lot of times we will say one thing outwardly and feel something else inwardly, or have a different thought other than what we actually speak. The body talks about how the physical body or even the nervous system is working. And the spirit, how, it's like he is, by concept here, living something that he believes is a spiritually correct thing to do. Well, we'll see what that position has to say. This is all for practice. It's a really good brain exercise, and that's why we're learning all of this. Subconscious is the back of the mind. So it's like, what about some previous history here, and what is in the conscious mind at this time, like what I'm aware of. Karmic lesson. What is his karmic lesson at this time? What is he supposed to be learning? And what does he want? That's the wish position. And what does he need to do to get what he wants? So we're going to be exploring all of this. This is all time stuff here with the recent past. How has it been going? What's going on now, like today? And where is all of this headed? This sheet also has a bottom portion here, which then we look into the next 6 months. And fill in the blanks, right? Because otherwise you don't know which month we're going to begin with. So since this is today, the April the 29th of 2015, then at least you can keep track of what date it is that you're doing the reading for. How does so-and-so feel, my daughter or son or dog or cat or bird or whatever, feel about whatever it is, like, oh, this new member of the family, whether it's another pet or another child, or feel about going to school, or their present relationship or whatever. Just think of all of this as an opportunity to practice being somebody else. It's a good empathy exercise. And just look at it from the point of view of what is truth? We don't know. We never assume that whatever we're reading is the ultimate truth of the truth, okay? We just want to practice putting in cards in different places. And how does it turn out when we go and put ourselves into this person's experience as we see it through the cards? So I'm now going to then go into the deck here, which if you don't have one, just go to the Tarot Card Expert and download your free deck. It'll look something like this. You're going to find that as you download it and you print it up, whether you use packing tape or whether you just take it, the 4 sheets, to somebody like, that does laminating. You could have a friend who's has a little crank laminator, and then you just cut them up into these little squares, right? So, or rectangles. Then you'll have a deck to play with. All right, so now let's look. I do not read reversals. This it's just there's just too many different ways to turn it around. So I'm always going to be reading them upright. I've been doing it for 40 years. It works. I'm going to now pull out the 21 cards and I'm going to spread it out. As you can see, I have shuffled these. There's a number of ways to shuffle, and some people do it like that, and then other people just go like this. So it's just however it is that works for you. It doesn't matter. Just get it mixed up somehow. When you start pulling the cards out, you know, like if you're going to do it the way I have been doing it, you just randomly pull it out from anywhere. And so if I have it like this, then I say, okay, I'm going to pull out 21 cards. So I'll just go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and 21. All right, now we put these guys away and start spreading out the spread. Now, as you can see, I'm just pulling them out from anywhere because that's the whole point of it. We want it to be as random as possible. When we spread them out, though, it's good to follow along with the numbers on the chart because it's just easier to remember. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I must have doubled up somewhere or I forgot one. So I just yank another one out of the stack. And this is 21. Or down here according to the image, but it doesn't matter. All right, so let's take a look and see how, you know, what's going on coming into the reading. Okay, we come into the reading with the Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles is about learning, kind of thinking about things, going, that was another way to understand something, or let me figure this out. You know, that kind of a thinking kind of energy. It's a student of life, always ready to learn something new. When I take a look at the lower cards, I see here in the subconscious here, we have a sense of him feeling like he's being with friends and that he's conscious that he's feeling at home with what is going on. All right, the intuition is saying to him something in, you know how that intuitive part of us that goes and says, hey, let's pay attention to this over here. The intuition right now is saying, be careful of what you're thinking at this time, because the Seven of Cups has to do with illusions or being somewhat deluded or ideas flying out all over the place. The foundation of the reading, meaning what's going on right now that he is dealing with. The foundation is saying that he's got a lot of imagination that's going on, and there's also, he's feeling very strongly that there is something going on here that can give him a sense of creative ways of doing things, and just ideas are just coming to him. And so the intuition is trying to say, well, you know, be careful and know which ones are from a deluded place or a imagination gone wild place, or what is truly trying to come through that is an inspiration. Now, who knows what his karma is that he needs to be doing what he's doing? We don't know, because there's reasons why things happen. So where he's at this point, this is the ego position right here. And this ego position is saying the magician, he's seeing himself as a person who, unless I do something about it, nothing's going to get done. I am the magician. I'm going to get things done. Okay, well, I'm curious about, so his spirit is saying, oh, well, you know, I have all of these ideas about what's possible. So far, I'm not seeing a terribly traumatized person, be really interesting to see what is actually going on. But I never assumed that what I'm reading is the truth of what's going on. Always want to check it out. We always want to know for real what is happening. But meanwhile, this is a good exercise. But what I see here so far does not show a lot of trauma going on inside him. All right. This is the inner mind. This is the outer mind. The inner mind, it's got a feeling card in the way that he's inside himself. He's now thinking in terms of there's something boring about what's going on, because there's the sense of I don't know. I got all these ideas. I'm still trying to learn stuff. I feel comfortable. I'm with my friends, and I'm going to make something happen. But I'm kind of bored right now. I'm not emotionally turned on by what's going on. The devil in the outer is how he speaks. Well, how he's expressing himself is that he may be expressing that, well, he wants more control over what's going on. I want something to happen. This is how I want it. But also maybe using words that are trying to control the situation, because the devil has a lot to do with doing whatever it takes to get what you want and since this is in the word or the thought position, through my words. So he may be careful about what it is he's saying so that he can manipulate things in such a way that he can get what he wants. Emotionally, in his inner feelings and the outer feelings. Okay, so inwardly, this is kind of interesting, because inwardly he's feeling quite content about what's happening. The Ten of Pentacles has a lot to do with the feeling of that I've got my needs met, I am comfortable, I like what's going on, and that is backed up by a sense of feeling secure with friends, feeling at home, and this sense of I got my needs met, whether it's food or clothing or whatever it is that he's looking for. But he's still outwardly expressing disappointment. So he's talking about, how things are not going the way that he wanted it, which is interesting that he has the devil in the outer thoughts and the Five of Cups in the outer feelings. So he may be expressing a more kind of a griping kind of, things are not working and I should have been better than this and all this. But actually inside, he's feeling okay. So it's like as if he's inside one thing, but outwardly he's kind of complaining and bitching about what's going on, and that's maybe what he knows that his friends want to hear. But inwardly he's just kind of bored, and he's actually quite comfortable. Physical, the body position, this is like the nervous system. And with the sun, he's feeling strong, I'm me and I can do whatever I want. So we have a person here who's feeling very powerful, and yet coming off like, things are not as good as they may be, or could be, or should be, or whatever. But actually, he himself is feeling very comfortable. So what does he want? Well, he wants emotional commitment. The Two of Cups has to do with emotional commitment. What can I do to bring love into my life? I want love. And apparently, he's very much interested in, he loves what he's doing at this time. But he wants emotional commitment. What does he need to do to master? Oh, that's really odd. I ended up with two of these. I got to replace that one. All right. What does he need to do to have love in his life? Judgment is a card of having to not take on any kind of persona, like being a jihadist, or being a group leader, or being any kind of an ego structure, right, that has limited our spirit from really being able to be present. It's saying, because he's using this, the mastery position is about what it is that you must master. You already do it, but you may not be doing it for the highest reasons or the best reasons, or ones where it may be doing other people harm, or it could be doing ourselves harm. Judgment means that he knows how to just be free and just go about and do whatever he wants. And yeah, myself, that is backed up by having the magician in the picture. But we also have here his intuition is trying to say there's something going on with your imagination that you're, like we're focusing on, well, anything is possible. That's Seven of Cups. But this is saying you've got to look at things, the Page of Pentacles, you got to look at things from a more liberated, not so attached point of view to be able to have love in your life. So what's the karmic lesson then? Well, the karmic lesson is the Seven of Swords. And the Seven of Swords, as you can see, is a guy who is just sneaking around. He's going, ooh, let me see what I can get away with. And what this is saying is that this situation that he's in right now is an expression of something that he has been doing maybe quite a lot in his life and in previous lifetimes, because karma from previous lifetimes is saying, I'm going to see what I can get away with. I'm going to try what I can. I'm going to get away with what I can. Some part of him is feeling, like, yeah, now this is kind of getting boring, but, I'm stuck here. Now, this card, the Devil and the Judgment, are two completely opposite cards. One says, I've got to play the role. That's Judgment. Devil, which is I've got to fit myself into this box so that I can get whatever I want. Whereas Judgment is saying, no, liberate yourself from any kind of box that you may be putting yourself into. Because in Judgment, you can see these people are inside coffins. And they freed themselves because they're listening to a higher calling. So let's take a look at what happened in the recent past. Recent past, something may have been happening in relationship to, let's say, his friends, the situation that he's in right now, where he felt like he wanted to do what he considered the right thing to do, doing something good for others. That's why he's doing what he's doing. He believes that this is the right thing. And at this time, we have the Strength, which means that he's passionately doing what he wants. Now, here we have a person who's passionate, right? Because that's what the Strength card is coming from the gut and going, oh, this really means something to me. I've got to do this. And then you back that up with the Magician. Only I can do this, and I'm going to make it happen. And then here we have the Devil, which is to have control. So I want to passionately do what I want to be in control. In some cases, that could also indicate like a form of black magic or something, because the Magician is not the card of universal wellness. And but it's not a horrible card, because there can be some people who say, yeah, I'm working this really mundane job and so that I can pay my bills. So I put myself in that box so that I can at least live comfortably in this world and save up for my future. So this is not a thing about, like you're doing a bad thing. That's it's basically saying that the spirit is free, but sometimes we need to structure ourselves. But in this case, we're looking at, well, he's structuring himself, following a passion, and knowing that he's going to be the one to make it happen. And yet he's not happy with what's going on, but he himself is fine. He's in good shape. Meaning, if his parents were watching this, he'd go, oh, good, at least he's healthy. Okay, now the outer world. All right, so the outer world is the Page of Wands. The outer world could be all of the governments or the people that are outside of his group. What are they trying to do? The Page of Wands has to do with trying out and experimenting on ways to handle his situation or the situation that he's in. So they're trying this and they're trying that, because Page is a young card. It's like a kid that is going to, well, let me try this and let me try that, right? So when that person or people or group, the outer world outside of him, have the Page of Wands, that means that it's just very experimental. It's, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just going to try this. And, oh, well, that worked. Okay. Oh, that didn't work. All right. Well, then I'll try something else. It's very experimental energy. Looking at him, we see a person who, when this card, the page, the outer world, looks at Jihadi John, they see conflict. So, of course, yes, this is a person who now represents a group of people who are in conflict with a lot of other people. And so, this is how the outer world then looks at Jihadi John or even the ISIS movement as something that they're in conflict with others. And and that's true. Okay. So in the future, it shows the world. And the world is kind of an interesting card in this situation, considering he's in a war. And the world has a lot to do with looking at one's life and being very self-reflective, um, looking at taking inventory. Now, because it's a major arcana and because it's a card that has to do with looking at the whole picture, uh, like how did I get here? Where did I come from? Where is this going? How did everything contribute to this? That's what the energy of the world is about, the world card. And taking responsibility for some of that. And so, but it doesn't tell me enough as far as I'm concerned as to, well, then what about how it's going to affect him? So I will look at another card and say, well, he's going to look at things from the point of view of, been there, done it, I got to find something more to do. And that would make sense considering that he's got the Four of Cups. There's something boring about this right now. He's satisfied. He thought that it was going to be kind of cool, his imagination gone crazy about it. And yeah, he can think of other ideas and have ideas that come to him about what else that he could do. But it's actually turning out to be a boring, trapped kind of a situation that he's in, even though he can get into the spirit of it all, just fantasizing, because the Knight of Cups is about fantasy. But this is starting to get kind of like disappointing. Yes, he's physically comfortable, but this is getting old. And he's looking at it, the world. He's going to be looking at the whole story. And he's going to come to a point, this is the next step into the future, of feeling that sense of, you know what, I see it now, I get it, and it's been good, but I want something else. I want something more. So we walk out of this reading with the King of Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles is a very practical card. He's a person who says, I have a lot of life experience, and, from all of that life experience, I can do more. I don't know where he's going to take this, because from here in the future, because we're coming out of this reading, meaning right now, in April 29, 2015, that at this moment, as I'm speaking, he's going, okay, well, I've got the Page of Pentacles. Okay, I'm going to think of more stuff that I can, get done and do things and learn more about all of this. And I've had a lot of experience. And so now let's see what else I can do. But I am also seeing there's boredom, disappointment, and a kind of like a locked in kind of an energy here of just getting by, Seven of Swords, and that there's going to be a reassessment of everything in the future where he's going to look at things and say, I want something else. There's got to be something more than this. What you can do with this reading so that you can keep track of everything is to write into your form what each one of these cards are. So at present is Strength. And then in the Intuition is a Seven of Cups. Page in is a Page of Pentacles. And just fill it all in. Four of Cups, Devil, and just fill in what it is that you have laid out so that you can go back into it. Because eventually, as you get used to recognizing the cards, Five of Cups, Two of Cups, Judgment, you're going to be able to look at these words, and actually the cards will then start coming up into your mind. And with enough practice like this, it's really fun because when you talk to somebody else, let's say share this with your friends, and they start to learn the language, they will realize that, oh yeah, I pulled up the Knight of Cups today, and they will know what you're talking about because they'll visualize a knight sitting on a horse with the cups and going, oh, I wonder what else is going to happen in the future or what's possible. So we want to then make these alive for you. And by practicing this chart, you will then be able to learn to put it all together. Right? Oh, the sun, yeah, in the body, 10 of Pentacles. Just write it in, right, so that you know what you're dealing with. And now I'm going to go into, well, then what's going to happen month by month? Because I see here that he's going to be wanting something else to happen. And that's the Eight of Cups. So I'm curious to know what's going to happen in the next 6 months. So I just put it all back together. Now, if you have like, a deck of cards that are actually, that are store-bought, or Amazon, just go to the website and you can actually get it from Amazon. You can, I would say go for the smaller, get a smaller size deck because it's just easier to just carry with you. You don't need the big ones. They're kind of heavy. And so I'm going to now do this 6-month thing. So I'm just going to pull out 6 cards. 2, 4, 6. When it comes to reading for time, it's always tricky. Because when people go and say, oh, well, when am I going to meet the relationship that I want, or when is my car going to sell, or when is my house going to sell? Okay, these kinds of, the 6-card spread is very handy, but don't count on it because Tarot is reading from a place of no time and no space, and yet we live in a reality where we do have time and space. And so it's kind of like talking to a fish and saying, well, what's it going to be like living in the air, so, but sometimes it's very accurate, right? So we don't know, but we just play along and just see if reality matches the reading. So in May, we see him feeling like he's getting things under control, right? So we have then the 4 of Pentacles. So it's like, okay, this is a micromanaging kind of a card, right? So he's going to get things under control and be stable with what's happening here. I know who's doing what and what's going on here and here. So he feels like, hey, in the next 6 months, in May, that he's going to sense that, hey, I got everything under control. In June, we have the Page of Cups. And Page of Cups is a card of happy, good news. So positive things are coming his way. He's going to be having that sense in June, that everything is good, or at least he's got happy news, something positive. In July, we have the 5 of Pentacles. And that means that something is happening where he's going, didn't turn out as well as I thought, because it's even more than just a 5 of Cups. Over here we have the 5 of Cups in the outer feelings. This time let me see here. Yeah, the 5 of Pentacles. In July, we have then having a lack of faith or feeling like, is this where I belong? Because this card, when it shows up, has that feeling of being kicked out of the church, being, maybe this isn't my gig. All right, now in August, we have the 2 of Cups. In August, things brighten up for him. It's like, hey, I love what I'm doing. I love what's happening here. So apparently then in August, things straighten up a bit. So July may be kind of tough, but in August, things start to get better. So he's feeling like, hey, everything is going good now. I like what's happening. September, Knight. Knight of Cups. See how many cups are going on. There's a lot of emotion, feelings that are happening here. So, and the Knight of Cups is like a teenager in love, right? That you would learn by studying the court cards in the classes. The Knight represents teenage energy, and he is dreaming about the future. So by September, he's feeling pretty good about what's going on and even thinking of what else can happen in the future. And then by October, we have the Two of Swords. And with the Two of Swords, there's this sense of, okay, but now what? Because this is a stuck between a rock and a hard place card. It's a stalemate, a sense of, I'm not sure what I want to do. Now, because everything else here looks so positive, I mean, the only time that there was a glitch is that at the Five of Pentacles in July, but all the way to October, I'm finally seeing something happening here with the Two of Wands that is saying, no, I can't do this, but I can't do that. But then if I did this, something is going to go wrong. But then if I did that, something else would go wrong. That's a very quick kind of a change. Same thing with this Five of Pentacles. Oh, I've got happy news, and like, oh, that didn't work out. I have a lack of confidence about what's going on. And then it switches back again into, oh, but I love what's going on, to, oh, now what am I going to do? So there's this kind of a switchy kind of energy that is going on. We always want to look for these kinds of things when we are dealing with any kind of reading. Yeah. The reason I'm pulling out another card for the Two of Swords is because I want to know, well, what's the next energy that is going to be coming into the picture? And the King of Swords is saying, I still don't know what to do. I've got a lot of things that I have to think about and have to consider. And it's usually a very uncomfortable situation. When you take a look at all the swords, when you look at, when you study the minor arcana and you start to look at all of the swords, they're really uncomfortable cards. And so what this is saying is that, yeah, there's something coming up in October where he's not quite sure what he wants to do. And considering he's in a kind of a volatile situation, thinking he's in control, he likes what's going on, and then whoops, it didn't work out. And to, oh, I love what's going on, to, oh, what am I going to do now? Okay, we're looking at somebody who's up and then oh, and then up and then oh, right? So with the Two of Swords and the King of Swords, it does indicate that in October there's something going on that he's not quite sure how he's going to handle it. So here's just an example of what you can do when you are working with this chart. Download it, go to the website, and just print up a bunch of these. My students print up stacks of them. And then they just start doing readings, and they write down in the notes so what it is. And then you can reflect back and say, yeah, did it happen? Did it come true? Or, especially with this stuff down here, the timing thing. It's always tricky because some people say, oh, if you're asking, well, it's going to, is it really going to happen in that month? My experience has been that a lot of people have called me back and said, yep, it happened. So it does happen. It can, right? So the main thing when you're doing a reading is to really focus on what you're reading and not what you wish that could happen. Like somebody who may be wishing that Jihadi John is having a real hard time may find this reading kind of disappointing because you may want, oh no, I want him to have a harder time than that. But what we're really doing is we're taking a look at what is his dynamics, what's going on inside his emotional clockwork, his way of thinking, what is happening right now. And it's very interesting to even track it on a weekly basis to see, well, how do things change? Because as we change, our future changes. That's why learning the cards are very, very good at telling you, hey, this is where you're at right now. If you want to improve it, here's what you can do. But if you want to keep going at the track you're going, well, then just keep doing what you're doing.